In case you're just joining us, it's Nigeria's #1 financial newsroom, The Money Show. We're looking at dwindling oil prices and Nigeria's economy. Of course, what more do we have to say? Olabode Showome is joining me right now, the Chief Executive Officer at Captree Limited. Welcome to the program, and how are you today?
I'm very well.
But we can't say that the oil market is doing very well, and especially Nigeria's economy that is reeling from falling oil prices. Just yesterday, fact that the normal gathering in Abuja every month, you know, that they come, they take the money, they share the money, they go back every month. They come. The monies they've been sharing have been dropping. We did understand yesterday that it was about 389 billion naira. That's a drop from about 316, 300. Yes, it's actually dropped from over 380 billion naira they shared in the month of August. Tell me what you think. Where are we right now in terms of Nigeria's economy and falling oil prices? $48 US this morning for Brent.
Well, one of the reasons why when we were growing up, our parents always told us that whatever money you get, put some aside for the rainy day, is so that you can have balance. And the fact of the matter is that there are certain things in life that are outside the control of people. But what the wise people do, what the mature people do, what responsible people do, is to create circumstances, parameters, and situations that allows for buffer. And one of those things includes savings, but savings is not the only thing. Another thing is actually innovation. They say necessity is the mother of invention. But what we have not really done in the circumstances is to actually dig deep inwards to actually determine what we can do and what can be relevant and what is productive for us. Yes, there's a lot of complaints that certain savings have not been done and all that, which is true, but that cannot be the only way. I mean, one of the presidential...
Sorry, let me get you rightly. That cannot be the only way to save, cannot be the only way to get out of this problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that cannot be the only solution. Savings has never been the only solution to grow an economy anywhere in the world. I mean, it was the presidential aspirant for the Republicans, Donald Trump, that was making fun of Africa, that said that they need to be recolonized for another 100 years because they actually import toothpicks. He was referring to Kenya, but I'm very certain that thing actually came from Nigeria, because one of the items that was banned, that was on the list that was banned by the CBN, is toothpicks.
Assessment for the assessing of forex, you mean?
Yes, yeah. for the assessing of forex. And that is an indictment on anybody with a sense of pride. It doesn't matter whether you hate Nigeria or not. The fact that you are living in a place where we have to be importing toothpick is a statement on its own. But having said that, we look at the real issue, which is our dwindling oil prices and all that. With dwindling oil prices comes another set of opportunities. One of the things that has happened in a lot of the Americas and in Europe is that certain industries which had been difficult before on paper because of, to set up because of energy prices, oil prices and all that, have sprung up. A lot of them, new companies. And there was one that was being interviewed, and they said that what happens when the prices go up again? And they said that, well, they take it as it comes. Which means that even here, if we really look at the things that had been hindered as a result of the prices, oil prices being high before, these are now times for us to look into it. And one of the direct consequences of low oil prices, which we are not benefiting from, is actually the retail products. So in actual sense, the prices of retail should actually go down.
The prices of fuel at this time should go down, because that should be one of the benefits of falling oil prices. Like it has gone down in some other countries.
Every other country.
You know, but in Nigeria, is there a justification for it to go down? I understand all prices are going down, but our revenue is also going down, because the more it goes down, the more subsidy, as it were, because we're still paying subsidy, is not being cancelled yet. You're smiling. You know, it's not been cancelled yet. So it's a very tricky rope to work on.
Well, at the end of the day, you know, it would be unfair on a number of people to just pass judgment in terms of what the actual prices should be. But there are parameters for calculating the prices, and I'm sure maybe the new government in NNPC, which has shown a very strong strength for transparency, may also, along the line as they continue their job, to ensure that aspect of the industry is also transparent.
Do you think that Nigerians that we've really learnt our lessons? Because this is not the first time, this is not the first cycle of fall or drop for oil prices.
Yes.
I think during President Obasanjo's time, there was a drastic drop where we saw oil price at about $32 US. I think during President late Yaradu's time too, there was a cycle. President Jonathan was indeed lucky somehow, because within his tenure, we had oil prices at, an all-time peak of about $120 US. I remember vividly. But now we're seeing oil price oscillating around 48, sometimes 45, sometimes. There was even a time it went down to about 43, 44, 45. And it's been said that perhaps $30 will be the new $50. Or there is also a postulation that it may get to $20. Whatever price that it is, do you think that we are really prepared right now, to be able to withstand that tornado when it comes, or is it tsunami when it comes? Because,
first of all, oil is a commodity, like we always say, and it rises and it falls. During President Shagari's time in the 80s, oil, I think, came to about $10 at a point in time, $18, $10, something like that, some ridiculous price. And there was a complaint at one of the OPEC meetings where water in some places was more expensive than oil. And then what the Arabs were saying then was that water is not oil. So there's a history to it, and there's a history to any other commodity in the market. Whatever you take to the market, whether it is yams, whether it is cocoa, whether it is gold, they will have their peaks, they will have their lows. So the real issue is that even after now, when it picks up at some time, it's going to go down. So that's a fact of life. But in terms of us being ready, I doubt if we have ever been ready for anything. And I'm not trying to sound pessimistic here, and I'm not one for pessimism anyway. But there is a responsibility on government at some point, because government is a continuum, irrespective of whether it's a change of party or it's a change of people, or whether it's military and all that. The Nigerian government as a body is a continuum. Whatever decisions a previous government make, especially when it has to do with foreign bodies, is not seen as a new government. It's seen as the Nigerian government. So there needs to be an integration, and there needs to be a responsibility that they will carry. Governments previously, as a whole, has not spent significant effort in planning. In fact, the National Planning Commission has not grown to be any strategic organ that it should be. The Planning Commission is supposed to be responsible for our forward-thinking thoughts. They're supposed to look into our joint venture and agreements with other nations. They're supposed to look into thought processes in terms of how we plan for people who come out of the universities and all that. But in reality, we don't know whether they do that. I mean, it is possible they do that, but in terms of we feeling the impact, in terms of the relevance being a direct product of what we benefit as individuals, that has not been the case.
Are you disturbed by this current trend now, in terms of that we have a new administration, in terms of that they are, I don't even want to be part of those saying this phrase or saying this word now. Body language has taken over now, because we seem not to have anything to analyze. Are you disturbed by the trend that oil prices are falling, and disturbed by the trend that we are seeing a slow response to issues about the economy from this present administration? Some civil society organizations met here in Abuja yesterday. You even needed to see their face that they weren't even happy with what's happening. They criticize this government and also urge the government that there's been a slow response to issues around the economy. And I think I've actually been saying it for a while, and people would think, oh, you're biased or you're this or that. And I'm saying, no, I'm looking at the conditions. I'm looking at the numbers that I see here every day. They are not looking good. So it doesn't matter if APC or PDP is in government. I don't have any stake with any party. I'm just saying this is what is happening. And those civil society organizations did re-echo what I've been saying here on the show for quite a while. So are you disturbed by this trend? Because the way we are going, we are having less revenue, even breaking down the numbers. VAT is dropping. So if you are having less revenue from oil, the business environment is not really conducive. You and I are not making money. How are we going to be paying taxes? Hello, the FIRS people, when they approach you, be like, have I made money? There's no money that has been made. So why would I pay taxes? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a two-edged sword, and we put it this way. First of all, a slow decision is better than a wrong decision.
A slow decision is better than a wrong decision. Okay.
But having said that, you know, the expectations based on the momentum with which the new government came in was a momentum which practically said that once we get here, Nigeria becomes El Dorado. But then again, politicians, being who politicians are bound to put a little spice in the soup. So what we have is that we are now trying to analyze the soup and see, okay, actually most of the soup is 90% water, only 10% is ingredients and the stuff. I mean, having said that, the fact of the matter is that certain things may take time, but it is not the responsibility of the people to understand that with government. It is the responsibility of government to bring people to understand.
That's to communicate better.
Exactly. So that's where agencies of government like the National Orientation Agency, like the agencies which are critical, the ministries which are critical in disseminating information, in anchoring government, must be very vocal, must be out there to ensure that people have something of substance to discuss. Because in the absence of news, I mean, it's a saying in PR, in the absence of news, rumors goes around. There is, it's just the fact that people didn't have much to say that they come to talk about body language. Because really, what does body language mean? You understand? It's as subjective as this lady is pretty or this lady is ugly. I mean, you can put 1 million people on one person and you have half of them going this way and half of them going.
Are you satisfied so far with the way that President Buhari has started on economic footing, so to speak? Is currently in India meeting with other, I think 40 African leaders have so far attended the India-Africa Forum. Are you satisfied with the way he's going about issues around the economy? Because some people have also said, are you sure that this president is even concerned about what's happening in the business environment? Anywhere he goes to, he talks about corruption. He's also talked about corruption in India, that every looter of the treasury will be called to book, which it's really good. He even said it in his October 1 speech that if you steal, you know, there should be action, there should be consequence for your action. That I'm not witch hunting anybody, but have it in mind that when you take a very bad action, there will be consequences. So are you actually, worried?
Well, I think to put it this way, the biggest room for improvement is the room for improvement is the biggest room in the world. The president can improve. That's the truth. Anybody who says anything other than that is being psychophantic. In terms of the business world, I mean, the president came not as an individual. He came as a team. He had people that worked with him. And then even on his ticket, he ran with the vice president. The vice president, Professor Shibajo, is a very sound person in private sector matters. He runs a law firm, which I do know, Simmons Coopers, which is a very, very successful law firm, very made up of competent people. He has also been active in the chambers of commerce and all that in Lagos for a while, and I'm talking about decades now. So that is somebody that understands the private sector.
Are they slow? We understand.
Yes.
We understand their competences. That and I think even with what I'm seeing right now, the VP is like at the forefront of the economy, but are they slow? 5 months. Today is 29th of October, exactly. Isn't it? So 5 months of this administration being inaugurated. So are they slow? Because it's not about politics now. Nigerians voted for APC that, my life will be better. We understand that they are not magicians or a miracle cannot be done within a short period of time. But are they indeed slow to issues around the economy?
I think it would be fair to say that they are slow.
They're slow. I
think it would be fair to say that. I mean, because sometimes we need to also tell ourselves some truths so that we can move forward. That they will get it right eventually, yes. I mean, we all have to believe that. I mean, irrespective of whatever people say, as long as you have the interest of Nigeria at heart, as long as you're a person of progress, you have to pray that this government actually gets it right.
Succeeds.
Yes. So, I mean, anybody other than that technically can actually be said.
What parameters are you basing that slow response to? Because some people have also said President Buhari did promise us we will get a cabinet by September. End of October now, we've not even constituted a cabinet. We just finished Senate screening yesterday, hoping for the confirmation hearing perhaps today. Then we'll need to assign portfolios and come off it. Perhaps the end of this year, nothing has been done actually. So,
you see, there's an important part of economic matters that we as Nigerians, not that we don't know, we actually don't put the importance it does to it. It's politics. See, the big school, that great school in London, is called the London School of Economics and Political Science.
Yeah.
Because all politics at the end is about economics.
Economics.
There is nowhere in this world, whether it is the US, whether it is UK, that politics does not aid about finances. Now, the economic matters have been taken and all that. And people seem to think that economic can just take a quantum leap without a stable without stable politics. It's very highly unlikely. Now, a lot of people have not realized that when politics end, there's a reason why developed nations ensure that after elections, that political activities actually dies. But our own political...
Or take a back bench for a while.
Yes, but our own political activities seem to have entered part 2, a new life. Because first of all, there was the... Because
there were a lot of wringling.
There's still a lot of wringling.
Who is the Senate president? Oh, he's facing CCB. Oh, who should be this? Oh, who should be that?
I mean, I don't doubt that anybody, and I don't think that anybody who is guilty should not face probe. But the way some of these things are done can make it be interpreted that there could be a weak... And I'll give you a practical example. One of which was that of the Senate president. As we discussed with a couple of friends, if the idea behind the probe was that they were probing all the governors between 2003 and 2007, and they were starting with the Senate president as a former governor, it's a different thing than just picking one person. Because it's easy to extrapolate and put a logical dot and say it's because this person seems to be in disagreement with certain actions. Now, what that does is that people of power, politicians of power, they use their power. What that does is that it is the nation, is the economy that actually suffers. The rumor that came in from yesterday is that a bunch of senators are going to take a stand and ensure that a particular
candidate nominee,
ministerial nominee from the South
is not confirmed.
Is not confirmed.
Okay.
Now, what good does that do to us? It doesn't do any good to the people who are taking the stand. It doesn't do any good to the people, to the person concerned, because at the end of the day, what such matters does is that it doesn't help the interest of Nigerians.
Okay, let me ask you one final question before we go. Have you made new money? In the last 5 or 6 months, perhaps that is what's
in
trending.
This year.
A colleague of mine met me yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago that we saw? She was like, I think she watched the show. She was like, "Oh, Nancy, have you made new money?" That she watched the show and she got that caption. I said, "Yes, that's the question I've been asking almost everybody I get in contact. Have you made new money?"
I will give you a simply. This year we've done. We've replied to 3 requests for proposals. We've done things in 4 oil companies. One of the major companies, no name, that they invited all vendors to a meeting, and they said that they were changing their payment terms from 2 weeks to 100 days. And so there was protest in the hall, and the man said, "See, look, you know what the oil prices are. We don't know what direction the government is going, and we want to be liquid."
Okay.
So, and believe me, it runs across everywhere, especially in the energy industry in particular.
Not just even the energy industry. A lot of people have... Okay, let me just use a few seconds to read the tweet. Musa Kunde is saying the nation's resources will now be applied, not disbursed like before. More Blessings says economy is in a bad shape because we import everything. Abdullah is saying this is when we need the real economists. All economists and professors should come out at this time. Many thanks for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
We hope to host you another time. Have a lovely day, though.
Thank you.
All right, that's the much you can take on today's edition of the program. Thank you for joining us. In case you've made new money, you can tweet at us, Money Show Live, or you can tweet me at Nancy Ilo. Tell us what has been your condition since the year started. Be the best you can be the change you also want to see. I am Nancy Ilo. Please join us again tomorrow for the last edition for the week. Have a lovely day, everyone. God bless Nigeria. Bye now.